Good evening and welcome to the work session and regular session, 101 voting session, September 24th, 2024, agenda for the mayor and city council for the city of Hagerstown. This meeting is now called to order. And first, we will have invocation given by Council Member Schindler, followed directly after that by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Honorable members of the Hagerstown City Council, esteemed guests, and cherished community members. As we gather here during Recovery Month, let us pause to reflect on the powerful themes of healing and renewal that guide our work today. This is a time to acknowledge the courage of those on the journey of recovery and to recognize the collective efforts it takes to support individuals, families, and entire communities as they heal and rebuild. As we reflect on the challenges our city has faced, let us commit to the healing not only of individuals, but our neighborhoods and the community as a whole. In this shared journey of recovery, may we remove barriers, eliminate stigmas, and work together to create a Hagerstown where resilience and hope flourish. May the spirit of healing and recovery guide us in all we do today as we strive to build a brighter, healthier, and more compassionate future for our city and all of us who call it home. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's gonna get freezing in here. Some announcements, rules of procedure effective December 15th, 2020. Use of cell phones during meetings is restricted. All correspondence for distribution to elected officials should be provided to the city clerk and should include a copy for the city clerk for inclusion in the official record. Our meeting schedule for October is Tuesday, October 1st. We have a work session at 2:30 p.m. Tuesday, October 8th, there's a work session at 4 p.m. Tuesday, October 15th, there's a work session at 4 p.m. Tuesday, October 22nd is a regular session at 7 p.m. Tuesday, October 29th, there is no meeting scheduled. Now it is agenda item citizen comments. So no one signed up for the agenda item citizen comments. Is there anyone that wishes to speak about the items on the agenda? If not, general comments will come after. So minutes, we'll have approval for the minutes.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for the approval of minutes as presented for the mayor and council meetings held on August 6, 2024, August 7th, 2024, August 13th, 2024, August 20th, 2024, and August 27th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move that all the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of an ordinance, amend the city code by repealing and reenacting chapter 140, the land management code.
Madam Mayor, I move to postpone the approval of the ordinance until a further work session to speak about code.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Postponed. Introduction of an ordinance, amending city code by repealing chapter 230, transient housing, and reenacting chapter 230, lodging facilities with amendments.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council to introduce an ordinance to amend the code of the city of Hagerstown by repealing chapter 230, transient housing, and reenacting chapter 230, lodging facilities with amendments. Specifically, the amendments will, 1, change the title of the ordinance to lodging facilities. 2, add 2 definitions related to the title change. 3, clean up sections of the ordinance with grammatical corrections. And 4, add section on ordinance remaining in effect.
Second.
Discussion?
I just want to thank Councilmember Perini for being so persistent with this and changing the name and making sure that it stayed on track. So thank you very much.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of resolution to ratify annexation A-2024-02, I-70 row, 18320 and 18306, Colonel Henry K. Douglas Drive, Colonel Henry K. Douglas Drive Row.
Madam Mayor, move that the mayor and council introduce a resolution to ratify an annexation for annexation case number A-2024-02. The area annexed is approximately 40.27 acres in size and has been added to and made part of the adjacent municipal lands and assigned CR zoning. The ratification process confirms the established zoning classification of the annexed area as previously enacted in R-24-02 on May 28, 2024. The ratified resolution package includes the annexation plat, verification, zoning exhibit, and annexation plan. This ratification legislation seeks to bolster the legal sufficiency of a previously enacted annexation resolution and moot alternate interpretations and legal challenges regarding when the contiguous and adjoining requirements of state law were perfected in this annexation matter.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, approval of a user agreement with the Hagerstown Area Youth Soccer League.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of a resolution to enter into a user agreement between the City of Hagerstown and the Hagerstown Area Youth Soccer League, HASL, for non-exclusive use of a portion of Hagerstown Fairgrounds constructed as 3 multi-purpose fields and located in the north-central part of Fairgrounds Park. The premises shall be used exclusively for HAYSL Soccer's program. The term of lease shall be from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2027, with 2 possible renewal of 1 year each. The city shall charge no monetary rent for the use of the premises.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, approval of a user agreement with the Police Athletic League.
Madam Mayor,
Oh, go ahead.
I hereby move for the approval of a resolution to enter into a user agreement between the City of Hagerstown and the Police Athletic League, POW, for non-exclusive use of a portion of the Hagerstown Fairgrounds constructed as 1 multi-purpose field and located in the north-central part of Fairgrounds Park. The premises shall be used exclusively for POW's recreational program. The term of the lease shall be from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2027, with 2 possible renewal terms of 1 year each. The city shall charge no monetary rent for the use of the premises.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, second amended and restated purchase and sale agreement for a portion of 441 South Potomac Street.
Madam Mayor, move to approve a resolution to approve the second amended and restated purchase and sale agreement for a portion of 441 South Potomac Street with Columbia Gas of Maryland, Inc. The second amended agreement extends the settlement date to on or before October 29, 2024, reduces the acreage to be purchased, rescinds the ordinance which quitclaimed a portion of alley number 2-105 to the seller, and withdraws the seller's subdivision S-2021-11, but retains the same purchase price as set forth in the first amended agreement.
Second.
Discussion?
I would just note that that ordinance is about as complex as this process of purchase with the selling property owner has been. But I remind myself of the words of former Mayor Brickner, who used to say quite often, he does not recall in these instances the city ever being the losing side on purchase of these types of property.
Agreed.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, office workspace agreement with PCMS Real Estate LLC, 34 East Antietam Street.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move to approve a resolution to approve an office workspace agreement with PCMS Real Estate LLC for Suite 304, 324 East Antietam Street, Hagerstown, Maryland. This space is to be used by the Hagerstown Police Department Alternative Response Team Operations. The term of the lease is June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025, with the possibility for an extension beyond the initial term. There is no rent under the agreement.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a motion, approval of updates to guidelines and application for the CDBG Micro Enterprise Grant Program.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for Mayor and City Council to approve the attached updated guidelines and application for the CDBG-funded Micro Enterprise Grant Program. Staff may make administrative edits as needed for clarification and administration of the program.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a motion, approval of updates to guidelines and application for the CDBG Single Family Repair and Rehabilitation Grant and Loan Program.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council to approve the attached updated guidelines and application for the CDBG-funded Single-Family Repair and Rehabilitation Grant and Loan Program. Staff may make administrative edits as needed for clarification and administration of the program.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval to accept the warrant apprehension program grant. Sorry.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve, approval to accept a State of Maryland Warrant Apprehension Program grant in the amount of $50,000. This grant will fund overtime for manpower to conduct warrant attempt details, guarding of prisoners at the hospital, travel reimbursement, and other extradition costs, ballistic shields, and camera add-on for the use by the Washington County Special Response Team.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the conversion of one full-time civilian position in addition of one new full-time civilian position, Alternative Response Team.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve to convert one full-time temporary ARPA position to permanent alternate response team and adding one new full-time civilian alternate response team position. Funding will be through vacancy savings.
Second.
Did you second?
Yeah.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of union sworn pay scale 3373 effective October 7th, 2024.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for approval of the attached modified pay scale as of October 7, 2024 for AFSCME 3373 members, sworn officers.
Second.
Discussion?
Madam Mayor, I just wanted to remind everyone about a detail of this that I think was discussed at work session with Hagerstown Police Department Chief of Police, in that this effort was started, I think, if I recall correctly, 6 months ago to deal with the issue of the fact that there are fewer and fewer applicants for police positions. So I give kudos to the Hagerstown Police Department, as well as to AFSCME 3373 for bringing this forward in an effort to be able to recruit. But I also want to point out, this is not kind of a knee-jerk reaction to anything else on social media or otherwise that's occurred in the last couple of weeks. This is a long time effort, so thank you.
Those in favor?
Well,
More discussion, sorry.
so I know, Chief, you brought up your financial guru in your department to provide that presentation to us. I apologize, I wasn't here last week. I was out of town. doing some things that I didn't think was going to come so fast in life. I think it was well explained to us. And I certainly echo the comments of Councilmember Perini. Being in this seat for some time, I'm also well aware that unlike other entities that do not operate with union represented departments, that those changes take more time. And I respect that fact. I respect the fact that you're able to work through that process to do that. And if other folks want to claim credit and tell it in some other manner, it's their story. They can tell it the way they want.
Amen. Any more discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of non-union sworn pay scale, police trainee and cadet pay effective October 7th, 2024.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for approval of the attached modified pay scale as of October 7, 2024 for non-union sworn police trainees and cadets.
Second.
Discussion?
Same comments apply.
Any more discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we have general citizen comments are welcome and shall be limited to 3 minutes. Citizens are welcome to provide comments in person or by sending an email to councilcomments@hagerstownmd.org no later than 5 p.m. on Tuesday, today, September 24th. Include your name, home street address, and topic of your comments, and you may attach a letter to the email or write your comments in the body of the message. The city clerk will read your name, address, and provide a summary of the comments. The full copy of the comments will be provided for public viewing as part of the minutes. Are there any? Thank you. And we have Mr. Rob Fareed. If you would please come to the front and state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes, and there will be a clock on the screen.
Hi, Rob Faree, 16235 Schaefer Road, Sharpsburg, Maryland. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here once again representing the Bowman Group of Companies and Don Bowman. Don's probably one of the largest private developers and investors in downtown Hagerstown. And I'm here basically with the same message that I tried to make before you voted on the parking increases a few months ago in the downtown decks. So after the last two plus months, I can report the following. At least in our restaurant in downtown, I can tell you our business is down. It's off in August and September compared year over year. And that's in spite of only having one restaurant now instead of two. I provided staff with more details on that. And if you're interested, please don't hesitate to contact me and I can give you more details. Business was looking better year over year until about August. And I can't say this is all about the parking rates, but we do know it has an impact. Our staff has heard from customers, and they hear people talking as they serve tables. And it's definitely had an impact on our staff paying the higher rates. Bowman is fully committed to the revitalization of downtown, but that revitalization still has a ways to go. We need to encourage folks to come downtown, and the large increase in parking only discourages people that have a choice where they have to go, and they can go places where they don't have to pay for parking. So we like to encourage them to come downtown to eat, see a show, shop, or locate their business downtown. The perception of public safety is another issue affecting our downtown businesses. I'm glad it's got the recent attention that it has. It's a more difficult issue to address for you all, but parking is completely under your control. So we respectfully request that you relook at the large increases. In particular, go back to the fixed fee after 4 p.m. If it needs to be increased from the $2, consider $3, or even 100% increase to $4. And I'm really speaking about the A&E and the university decks. Anything more than that will probably discourage folks coming downtown who only want to spend an hour or two. We fully understand you have fiscal responsibilities to the citizens and the businesses, downtown to pay the taxes in regards to the parking fund. But continuing to support the revitalization of downtown and supporting the downtown businesses, most of which are small startup businesses, is another responsibility that you need to balance. As you relook at the parking rates increases that some of you said that you would over some period of time. So anyway, thank you in advance for your consideration.
Thank you. Court, my respect. I'm sorry, I said it wrong.
No.
Oh. Name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Court Minor Schmidt, 12827 Fountainhead Road, Hagerstown, Maryland. I'm here also to talk about the parking rates downtown. First, thank you for allowing us to have these interactions. I understand, and everybody understands it's an enterprise fund. It needs to be self-sustaining. So that, first and foremost, we understand the rates had to go up. I believe that, and the numbers show that. So the rates did have to go up. The old rates, just to remind you, was $1 an hour, $2 flat rate after 4, $2 flat rate on Saturdays, free on Sundays. It's currently at a max of $8 during the weekday. It's currently $2 an hour and a max of $24. That's Saturdays, Sundays, that's in the evenings. Sundays, it is free from 6 till 2. So that is there. Now, we recently did a survey, and I sent this out to all of our quote-unquote insiders for the distillery. So people that come to the distillery regularly. I also gave it to the barbershop, the beauty salon, and Bulls and Bears, so they were able to. And you can see from this, and I'll just briefly go over it, that the vast majority, 63% of the people that filled this out thought that $2 an hour with 24-hour max is too expensive. 33% said $2 is reasonable, but $24 is way too expensive. But of that, almost 80% said, does the hourly rate for evenings and weekends deter you from coming or staying downtown? Almost 80%, 79.4% said yes. Have the changes in parking rates changed your parking choices? 52% said yes, I spend less time downtown. 28% said yes, I find free parking, and only 15% said no, it did not change. So that's what the people are saying, and that's what we're hearing, and that's only the people that filled out the survey, and I did it for just 1 week. If we can hold it out longer, you'll see what people are really thinking. I personally have seen it in my business. I told you, a couple months ago, that on our poker night, we have about 16 people. We currently still have 16 people. Please come and ask them yourself, but the vast majority of them no longer park in the deck. They go out and park for free. So where you used to be getting $32, you're now getting nothing. And they're willing to come downtown. This Thursday, we're having a board game night, same thing. They're finding free parking. And that's exactly opposite of what you're doing. Some people aren't coming down anymore. We would love to see a fixed rate after 4 p.m. and on the weekends. And then the other thing we have to think about is the employees. So my bartenders come in at 4. They're 4 to 10 on Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, and or noon to 10 on Saturday. Well, for them, they're paying that $2 an hour. So now they've moved, they're parking for free. So again, we're just losing that money coming in where they're willing to pay something, but they're not going to pay $24. So please reconsider going to a flat rate on after 4 and weekends. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Clear Freight. Please say your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, Clear Freight, 18517.
Speak into the mic.
Hi,
Soft spoken.
Clear Freight, 18517, Nathan Court, 21740, Hagerstown, Maryland. My comments and concerns are I am a small trucking company owner here in the state of Maryland, here out of Hagerstown. My concern is that I recently purchased a semi-truck earlier this year from Penske right here in Hagerstown. It was advertised as a level 1 piece of equipment, which means that it should need little to no work needed. It was supposed to be advertised as road ready. When I went to get this piece of equipment registered with the state of Maryland, I then found that the equipment actually didn't have legal level brakes. Usually with a level 1, you shouldn't need to do any more than maybe headlights, taillights, minimal things to get the equipment up to par. I feel as though the business that I'd received from the Penske here in Hagerstown was not up to par, and I'm hoping that there's something that could potentially be done as far as that business transaction. Since then, the truck has been very, very, it has been a lot of issues with this truck, and for it to be advertised as a level 1 piece of equipment, which should have needed minimal work and was advertised as road ready, I'm very shocked by the stature of this piece of equipment. And that's my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's everyone that is signed up. Is there anyone else in the gallery that would like to speak? If so, please step to the podium, your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Ethan Lowen, 3 West Wilson Boulevard. There's a group of almost 250 families that are in need of this council's action. 2 weeks ago, the local NAACP held a community meeting requesting that our local school board decrease the distance they bus children to Salem Elementary School, from busing children who live a mile or more away to busing students who also live half a mile or more from school. This is an unusual request because all previous students of Salem Elementary walk to school if they live within a mile. Additionally, the other students of our county have the same standard. This request has large implications. First, walking to school is a documented positive experience for childhood. The National Institutes of Health and Johns Hopkins have published studies encouraging programs such as No Bus Wednesdays and other ways to get more children to the walk to and from school. Secondly, adding a bus route is expensive, and it appears this request would add 4 routes. So I went to the meeting to find out what problems parents have that is driving this request. Come to find out, the meeting was not being run by the NAACP, rather it was the teachers union, and as they are prone to do, they were promoting a larger public school budget, hence the call for more bus routes. After the meeting, I was able to speak to the mothers in the room and find out their concerns. First, parents are not asking to have their children bused to school. In no way are the mothers of the NAACP saying their children should be treated as less capable of walking to and from school than past generations of Salem Elementary students or the other students in our county. They've simply been told that telling the school board to add bus routes is the only solution anyone is going to offer. Because the real concern of these families is that along the walking route, it has gotten to the point over the last few years that the homeless and drug addicts are walking around their children as they are going to and from school. As one mother said, it's just not appropriate. And while I appreciate her diplomatic response, it is actually dangerous for the homeless and drug addicts to be walking among children. In California, which went down the defund the police path 10 years ago, as opposed to this city council, which put us on that path 4 years ago, they have 6 additional years of experience with drug addicts and homeless congregating along school walking routes. There have been relatively isolated instances of violence or sexual abuse, but this is one scenario where even one instance is a horrific dereliction of duty. However, the most common issue is that as time goes on, they say and do inappropriate and disturbing things to and around the children. Children learn to respond as victims. The things they hear and see, along with the loss of safety, changes their psychology and eventually how they function in life. The solution that these mothers of the NAACP discussed is to have a police officer walk along the kids' route to and from school for a couple of weeks, then a random walk once every couple of weeks as a maintenance round. There were several other issues the parents have, but this issue is 80% of their concern. And since these families only get discussed when they can be used to increase a government agency's budget, I would like to put forward what they are requesting. I am out of time, but if this council gives me another 20 seconds, I can mention the 2 other requests they have.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sure. Have at it.
So there are tree branches. There are tree branches that they feel are blocking corners and that, drivers are not able to really see where the kids are. So they would request that perhaps, people go around and in the public maintenance, whatever, and cut back some of those tree branches. And the other is as traffic increases, so does the speed. So they would hope that an occasional but consistent police presence would resolve speeding issues. They do have several other requests, but they're all related to the school board. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Well, no city administrator. That's a first. And so I'll start down here, Councilmember Ashar. Closing comments?
Me first.
Okay. I could have went first.
That's-
Like I said. Yeah.
So I just have probably one comment this evening. As my colleagues are aware, I wasn't able to make the meeting. Last week I was out of town. I was able to tune in and watch. You guys had a fairly long meeting. I think my daughter was probably getting annoyed as we were walking around, looking at college. I had my phone sort of listening to what you guys were talking about extensively. But on the way down to where we were going, I had the opportunity, it was a long ride, to tune into the meeting at the library. And the first thing I'll say is, obviously I wasn't able to be there because I was out of town, but I am pretty glad that this body chose to show up of their own accord, of their own decision, and simply listen rather than be heard. I will tell you that I think there were roughly 37 or 38 speakers at that meeting, and there were, a plethora of comments made, but there was one comment that I think caught me by some surprise. And I think as an elected official, watching the manner or the mannerisms of that panel in the room sort of absorb that comment without any reaction. And I say that because when we were sent the email that said, hey, council, organizing this meeting, I'd like you to attend. You got 5 hours to let me know whether you're going to be there or not. And you got to pick 2 of you, and you're going to sit there and you're going to listen. People can say whatever they want. And at the end, we'll just part ways. And that's pretty much, how it went and how that communication was shared. But the one thing that was said in that email was, that we haven't provided folks the opportunity to talk to mayor and council in the meetings that we've had, like we've provided, individuals to come up and speak this evening, like we do every month. And it said, I'm gonna conduct this meeting like you conduct your meetings. And come back and by coincidence, my daughter, for her middle school, she had a volleyball match for her middle school, playing, by coincidence, Western Heights Middle School, which I believe at least one of my fellow members, kids plays at, right? And there's a gentleman that got up and spoke, probably about 15th or 16th in the litter of comments that were made. And he made the reference to Western Heights Middle School as the Western Heights Correctional Facility.
Oh, my God.
And he made that several times. And I watched as at least one county commissioner sort of nodded along at the meeting to a comment like that. And I watched as fellow elected folks that are supposed to be managing and conducting that meeting like we would here in these chambers, with the words that are around the pillars in these chambers. And I can tell you right now, I would never have sat there on that type of panel and allowed some individual to refer to the kids in this community as inmates attending a school with the reference that that school is a correctional facility for inmates. Those commissioners probably have parents that have kids. Those parents probably work for the county, and their kids probably go to that school. And I don't understand how you can sit there as an elected representative of the people and allow somebody to refer to an entire school of children, middle school kids, as inmates in a correctional facility. And not just once, but the gentleman said it probably 2 or 3 or 4 times. I don't understand that. And I can tell you that I would have never sat quiet, whether on that panel or in that audience at that type of meeting, and allow that type of garbage to be said when the purpose of the meeting is you're supposedly there to talk about efforts and solutions to identify for public safety. And then to sit there and sort of nod along at that panel like, oh, yeah, this is normal. This guy should be saying this. There's nobody out there, and I can see your faces in the audience now. There's nobody out there that thinks that's normal or okay or an appropriate way for anybody to be sitting here. And I can't imagine this body sitting here. And I can tell you right now, that individual would not come into these chambers and say things like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the kids play from Western Heights. It's not appropriate.
Thank you.
Tom.
Thank you. Councilmember Brady.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll say thank you, Councilman Alshire, for those comments. Certainly, it's not appropriate. A lot of what's going on right now is not appropriate. And there are a lot of comments that are being made, whether at town halls or on social media, that range from misinformation to just plain lies. And I agree that that shouldn't happen in this chamber either. So I'm going to set the record straight from the previous person that made a comment. There has not been any effort. Matter of fact, it's the opposite. This council is not defunding the police. I find myself saying that over and over and over again because people keep lying about it. This council, the police department's budget is fully funded. The budget amount has increased every fiscal year. So, we live in this country. This country grants us the right of freedom of speech. But I'm going to push back and correct the record every time. So with that, I'm going to try to move into some more positive note comments. First of all, as the month of September, and we recognize several things in the month of September. One of them is opioid overdose awareness. Most of you in the community know that Washington Goes Purple, which is our local nonprofit organization, that promotes opioid overdose awareness, is very active in the month of September. And I'm wearing my purple Maryland flag tie here at the end of our last session in the month of September, in recognition of the good work that's being done. And according to recent comments by Secretary Keller, and I believe I'm getting this correct, for the first time in a long time in Maryland, the number of opioid overdoses is actually decreasing. So it's working and moving in the right direction. I also want to just mention, as I do at these regular sessions, the good things that are happening that I've had the privilege of being involved with. So bear with me for a moment. Since our last regular session on August 29th, I attended an event with County Commissioner Jeff Klein on the 7th of September. We, of course, had the wonderful celebration event honoring Aaron Brooks. On the 10th, I attended the grand opening of yet another business in Hagerstown, a sheet store. On the 10th, we also had the rather somber but a very important remembrance in City Park, remembering the fallen of 9/11. On September 11th, I attended the Community Coalition meeting, which is an important component of our work in preparing for the General Assembly in Annapolis. I attended on the 12th, attended the USMH board meeting right here in downtown Hagerstown. On the 12th, also attended an event with Congressman Trone. On the 14th, I attended the Roots and Stones event, which I didn't even know of previously, but I was glad to learn of, at the Halfway African American Cemetery. And before everybody jumps down my throat on Facebook or whatever, I understand Halfway's not in the city. But a vast majority of the folks who are buried in the Halfway African American Cemetery were relocated from the Bethel Street Cemetery over 100 years ago. And there's work being done right now by the Roots and Stones group to refurbish that and bring that cemetery back to its appropriate place. On the 16th, I attended the town hall that was just discussed, that was called by Senator Cortman and Commissioner Derek Harvey. On the 18th, attended another community coalition meeting as we're putting together our Hagerstown city priorities, legislative priorities. On the 19th, I attended the Washington County Volunteer Fire and Rescue meeting in Hagerstown. On the 20th, I attended a great celebration of the Hagerstown Housing Authority's 75th anniversary and appreciate the work that they're doing here in Hagerstown. On the 21st, attended a bunch of stuff, Hagerfest downtown, Fall Fest, had the fireworks display at City Park, and then the South End Block Party also at City Park. On the 23rd, yesterday, attended the grand opening of the Community Rescue Service Station, and that station will now serve parts of the north parts of the city of Hagerstown. And also yesterday, I attended the Washington County chapter of the MML dinner in Keedysville and gave the legislative update. So I do this to help describe the really good things that are happening in the city. We talk a lot about that in other areas, but these are things that don't kind of make it to the agenda, and I'm thrilled to be part and representing the city. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Burnett.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Alshire, for calling that comment to light. I am a parent of a child that attends Western Heights, and she is not an inmate. And I want to make it clear that kids are not bad. A lot of those kids, a lot of kids in this community have been dealt with some traumas and are experiencing some factors in life that make them act a certain way. It doesn't make them an inmate. And I'm very, very disappointed at that person's comment. And I would encourage that person to get involved into the youth programs here, get involved in mentoring, speak to the staff, speak to the principals. I have spoken to them, and they have a lot of great things to say about these kids. So before you come out and talk crazy, do your part. On another note, we've had many discussions on community issues, and we were asked to provide a path forward on what's next. So I would propose that in the next few weeks or next 2 weeks that we get back together as a body and recap what we talked about with our stakeholders, what we've learned, a summary of what the city can do to support, a summary of what the public can do to support, an overall just summary of awareness to recap all the discussions. Because I personally share what we talk about in like video clips on my social media pages. City shares recap of the discussions, but there's still a lot of people that are just saying things that aren't true, that we have talked about and debunked at these meetings. So I would encourage us to have a recap and bring it out to light again about the misinformation that's being spread around. Also, I also want to congratulate Community Rescue Service as a city liaison. I was not present because I had to work. However, I have witnessed their dedication, the board's dedication to getting the new facility up and running, and I am so proud of them, and it was a lot of work to get that done, so kudos to them. And also, Councilman Schindler, your invocation that you give provides hope and optimism, and it's inspirational. And at a time like this, we need to be reminded of that. Hagerstown is a great place, and you provide that hope in every single conversation we have together, and even in a public setting. So I just want to thank you. That's
Councilman Schindler?
Thank you very much for the kind words. And in regard to Councilman Alshire's comments, I'm a Western Heights Middle alumni, and I echo the sentiments. There were a lot of inappropriate things said during that meeting, things that should have been mediated, and it was a little embarrassing to be in the crowd for some of that. So thanks for calling attention to it. On a more positive note, Saturday was a crazy day here. Saturday was an awesome day between Hagerfest, the Investor Community of Hope Block Party, the Fall Fest at City Park. I mean, there were a lot of people on the streets, a lot of public art, a lot of services. It was fantastic to see. Also, congratulations to the United Way on another year. Fantastic, their Day of Caring. It seemed to be a very successful day, so congratulations to them. And I wanted to share kind of a cool story real quick with everybody. So last Thursday was the kickoff of the Washington County Museum of Fine Arts new exhibit. It's Japanese woodblock prints. It's very cool. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the images. You've seen them in your everyday life. They're part of pop culture, but they're in our museum right now. So, I mean, some world-class pieces, really cool. But one thing that was really interesting is someone came up and introduced themselves to me, and they were from Olden, Norway. And the reason that they were there is in Olden, Norway, there is a museum founded by the same folks that founded our museum's exhibit, the Singer family. And they worked for the museum in Olden, Norway, and were here to Hagerstown to visit and kind of see the other museum that the Singer family had helped to establish. And they were coming around our town, and they had some really eye-opening perspectives from a very, very outside perspective coming from Norway about Hagerstown, and some very complimentary things and some very interesting perspectives on our town. So, I just want to thank them for coming, and so I thought that was a very interesting thing to share. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman McIntyre.
I just have two things tonight. First, I want to congratulate Brittany and her team on a successful Hagersfest. It was very challenging to be in competition with all of the things that were going on. So between Hangerfest and Hagersfest and Fall Fest and Investor Community of Hope Fest, there was a lot of stuff going on all over the community. So while it was successful, I don't think that the Hagersfest got as much attention as it could have if it would have been kind of separate from all of those things. So I look forward to her feedback and Leah's feedback, and I know it's a lot of work for all of the city to get involved, and it was well attended, so look forward to the feedback. Secondly, parking. Court, thank you very much for providing that data. We have to make data-based decisions, and as everyone knows up here, I voted no to increase the parking rates. I feel as if it was too soon. I feel like we need to have more things down here to keep more people downtown to appreciate and understand the parking rates and why they need to be set the way they are. So I would like to suggest and hope that we can have another discussion with the data in front of us at a work session followed up. Perfect. It's next week, Court.
Thank you.
So thank you for the feedback and for taking that survey from the guests. And I understand that what it takes to have a waiter or waitress, work the way that they do with limited time and limited patrons, and also having to pay for parking. So it's a lot to consider. So I look forward to the conversation next week. That's it.
Thank you. So I got a couple of different things. First, I want to make a comment on the defund police. I am so tired of it. I am like, I don't even have a comment on it besides I am tired of hearing that. That language, which is first of all incorrect. This body 4 years ago, when I was elected to council, I never voted to defund, nor has any other member sitting up here in 4 years to defund the police. So I'd appreciate it if we watch how we're saying things whenever when we're talking. Especially as leadership and elected officials. People don't support people don't support businesses, people support people. And at the end of the day, we have to understand that some of the language that is being used is stopping people from wanting to support anything. It's stopping people from wanting to move here. It's stopping people from wanting to work here. And it's frustrating. It is extremely frustrating. And I want to tell you, I come out of this county, out of the foster care system in 1996. 1996. I was a foster care youth since 1988 to 1996. I sit here and I serve this city with my entire heart. If I walked around and talked about all of the negative things that have impacted my family, that have impacted my friends or my community, nothing would get done. And so what I would like to say to all of the leadership, whether you're elected, whether you're a business owner, whether you work in community, watch your language. Watch how you talk to people. There are certain people that are tired of that. There's no longer just leadership that is only interested in being seen and heard. There's actually leadership that has done a lot of work to show up for people every single day. How dare this community constantly say, defund the police, with the first Black woman mayor? Do you know how hurtful that is? Do you know how many phone calls I take from people who do no longer live here that ask, are we even safe with those types of lies being spilled out from elected officials within our own community? It's ridiculous. Perhaps people are not supporting businesses because they're tired. They're tired of specific leadership saying whatever they want to say when there's certain people that can't do that. We don't have the entitlement, nor the political structure, nor the finances around us to say whatever we want to say. On behalf of parking rates, I agree. We need to have another discussion on it. But let me tell you some of the conversations I have walked with people that have parked in the parking garage as we walked to the dispensary right inside the stadium, or as we walked into the stadium, that they are happy. They are happy to pay those parking fees, that they are happy to support the city. Those are conversations I have with folks. Actually, during the Hager Fest, I met with a lot of folks. They were here from Baltimore, here from Washington, D.C., that were happy about the parking and parking decks and had no problem paying it. And so we have to be mindful of who we're talking to and how we're talking to people. I talk to people that won't come downtown because they don't feel as though they're accepted downtown because they read all the stuff on social media. Perhaps this leadership and business owners need to get your folks in order. Get your folks that are running around saying the city isn't doing anything. The city is this. How about you gather everyone up and make sure their language is appropriate in order to be able to continue to have your business growing. People don't support businesses, people support people. And this community is tired. It is tired of supporting businesses that jump on social media and attack leadership that shows up. I am over it. Over it. And as I sit here, just know that I won't be sitting here too much longer, and that I will be the thorn in everyone's side. How dare some of y'all? Thank you to the community that put together so many different things on Saturday for families to be present. The Hager Fest. I mean, there was professors from Goucher College that came up that actually Leah and her husband met in the class. He came up and he did workshops. There was teachers that were here. People drove from all over to support the Hager Fest. Thank you to Leah and Brittany. Thank you, HPD and Hagerstown Fire Department, for your presence. Thank you for the Fall Festival. I left from downtown Hagerstown, tears rolling down my eyes. That's how grateful I was to be from Hagerstown. Again, I come out of the foster care system. I didn't have $8 to pay for parking, but I paid it, and I got a free parking pass. Sometimes we just complain to complain. Congratulations, 75 years, the Hagerstown Housing Authority. It was a complete honor to be there and to present a proclamation. Another thing, I'm not sure if you guys may not, maybe you do, maybe you've heard my story before, but my grandparents lived in Frederick Manor. And when my grandmother passed away with a heart attack, I was in the bed with her. My mom was 18 years old. And so we come from public housing. And what an honor it is to serve as the city mayor and to be able to celebrate that. I am thankful for the things that we get to celebrate. And I know I sound probably mad, but I'm not. I'm extremely passionate, and it hurts my feelings Because if you knew how many people I have to talk to remind them of where we're headed as Hagerstown, just to correct some of the language that's used. Every single one of my daughters went to Western Heights. I have a daughter that works for the state. She works out on Roxbury Road. She heard those comments about Western Heights. How dare any of us condone that? How are we allowing this language? You know what? With that word, oh, one more thing. To the young woman that shared the information, Clear Freight, my apologies. And I hope that there's some folks that have heard you, or there's some people that will begin to surround you and see how they can help assist you. These are the types of things that I feel as a community, we should be making sure that we do right. When you have a young woman that comes and says, hey, I have a small business, a trucking firm, and I was sold a truck that doesn't work. I think we should rally around that kind of stuff. And with that, we're adjourned.